Well, that's a view from the Democratic side, right? But right now, simultaneously, both GOP frontrunners, Donald Trump, Ted Cruz, are on the road in New Hampshire. This after continuing their attacks on each other today after a war of words over the weekend. I'm joined now by Craig Varoga, a Democratic strategist, and Keith Koffler, political editor at LiveZet.com. Welcome to you both. I want to ask this first question to both of you because I am sort of amazed by this. Donald Trump calling Cruz sort of a nasty guy, right? Somebody that nobody gets along with. What do you make of this, and what does it mean for the rest of the election? I'll go to you first, Craig. What do you say?
Look, I think Donald Trump calling anybody nasty is pretty ironic because, you know, he's run the most negative and nastiest campaign in history. But I think it certainly indicates that he's scared of Cruz, and he should be, because it looks like it's a two-person race with some room for Rubio right now.
Keith, what do you say? I mean, this is sort of an amazing attack, really, but there are echoes of this throughout the Republican Party. When you hear former leaders talk about their treatment at the hands of Cruz, it's often not positive.
Right. I mean, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, you know, Trump's one to talk on that. But look, it's a strange line of attack, actually, because nastiness, or at least a strong word, seems to be working in the Republican primary. I think much more effective is Trump's attack on Cruz's eligibility. Now, whether or not that's true, and it really, constitutional scholars say it is not true, even though he was born in Canada, he's an American citizen, but still raising these questions in people's mind about whether he's eligible to be president seems to have had an effect on Cruz's momentum, and I think that's a more fertile line of attack for Trump in this debate that's going on.
And his performance in the debate, though, too, I think Ted Cruz suffering after making those remarks about New York. But let's talk about Ted Cruz and expectations in Iowa, because Nate Silver's 538 predicts he's going to win it. Is that actually a good thing, Craig, since Mike Huckabee and Rick Santorum won it and then failed to take much more territory other than that?
No, look, I think winning the Iowa caucuses is a great thing for anybody who wins it. And, you know, the challenge for candidates in the past has been that they've not had an organization to build on it. I think Cruz does. Whether he wins or not, I'm not sure. I do think, as Keith pointed out, that some of his momentum has slowed in the last week. But, you know, there's still 14 days left, and there's still time for him to really take this challenge to Trump. And Trump certainly seems to be scared of Cruz right now.
Keith, you know, you look at Hillary. I mentioned 538 before. They're also claiming she's going to take Iowa, but I know there are concerns inside that camp that might not happen. What do you see happening there, and can she do well in Iowa?
You know, it's so close. It really is too close to call. But, you know, Iowa always has the passion factor. I mean, it's people that come out. They have to, you don't just vote. You sit in a room and you talk for an hour, and you have to, it's freezing weather and so forth. And Sanders definitely has the passion factor. So, you know, I'm not so sure that she's going to win Iowa. He's ahead in New Hampshire. You could have a startling development where the frontrunner, Hillary Clinton, loses in these two states. And that's bad news heading down to South Carolina, where she may have an advantage. But he really will have the momentum if he does that. I'm not saying that's going to happen necessarily, but she has real trouble there.
Craig, did you ever think that Sanders would have this kind of staying power? It's amazing, amazing the kind of traction he's gotten with voters. I mean, the man's a socialist after all.
Well, you know, I mean, you make a good point. You know, for the last 6 months, people have talked about the fact that Bernie Sanders is a socialist or a democratic socialist, whatever you want to call it. He's also a politician. He's clearly, you know, a well-tested candidate, and he knows what he's doing. In addition to that, you know, and one of the reasons why, in addition to the passion that he's providing a challenge, you know, to Secretary Clinton, is because he's raising a lot of money, he's matching her on the money, and that's allowing him to build an organization. So not only, as Keith pointed out, does he have Sanders have the passion, he now has an organization, he has the cash and he has an organization, which is a very dangerous thing, you know, for Secretary Clinton, and they must be feeling a little bit of deja vu all over again.
Keith, getting back to the Republicans for just a minute. So we're 2 weeks from Iowa, right? Who's not going to make it out alive? The list gets shorter from here, does it not?
It may. I mean, everybody's egos may keep them hurtling into South Carolina and other primaries for all we know. But look, I think particularly Huckabee and Santorum, I mean, these were people that were supposed to do well in Iowa if they had any chance. They have nothing going in New Hampshire. And right now they have nothing going in Iowa either. So those are two that I would really look for to potentially get out. At least Huckabee, who really has nothing going after Iowa.
Craig, do you agree?
Look, I agree, but I do think that there's going to be some winnowing down. I mean, I think that usually, 3 candidates can progress out, beyond Iowa. It might be a little more this time, but eventually, I mean, Jeb, Huckabee, Santorum, Kasich, I mean, I think eventually they're all going to fall away, and it's, Rubio will have the chance to challenge both Cruz and Trump. That's my gut, but we'll see.
Got a long way to go yet.
Yes, we do.
So both of you will be back. Thank you, Craig Varoga and Keith Koffler. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks very much.